Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Paizo's physical building. What's happening with it? All right, so this morning I was reading Twitter, and Jason Bullman is one of the lead designers for Paizo Pathfinder 2. Okay? And Pathfinder 2E, right? And he tweeted a picture of an empty office. It was a very plain office that had a really large desk, but it was an office, right? And it was the office of Jason Bullman saying, hey, after 9 years here at Paizo, I'm having to move to a new office, right? So he's saying, I'm still at Paizo, but my old desk will no longer be used by me, and my office, my building with a door, right? My room, actually I didn't see the door, but my room with 4 walls and my office, right? I no longer have that, right? And I was like, whoa, that's big. That's a big deal, all right? So I want to talk about this. And so my concern is that Paizo might be in trouble, right? And one of the reasons why I'm really interested in this is I have become incredibly interested about the tabletop role-playing game industry at the industry level. And the reason why is my love for TRPGs is so strong that I really want to know, the industry at the core base level, right? I want to go beyond just being interested in a specific game, or and I really want to understand. Now, I am absolutely interested in in multiple specific games. To me, the hottest games right now, Dungeons & Dragons is the granddaddy of them all. I have a ridiculous love for that game that exceeds all other games and always will. It doesn't even compete. Dungeons & Dragons never competes for best TRPG. It is the best TRPG, even if it's edition 9 and there's a guy scrawling it out on cardboard, that will be my edition, over a burning trash can, that's my TRPG. I absolutely love D&D. But the other hot games right now that I really am just really digging and loving is Tiny Dungeon 2E, Blades in the Dark, and Index Card RPG. I think those are the top 3 tabletop role-playing games as far as beautiful design, awesome writers, really incredible creators that are attached to those games. That's John Harper, Toby Abad, Alan Barr, Runehammer Games. All of these are just really incredible creators, right? But Pathfinder 2E is a major event within tabletop role-playing game within the industry. And right now, I'm really focusing on the Fizzy 5, the Physical 5, the 5 U.S.-based tabletop role-playing game companies that have physical headquarters, actual buildings where people put on their pants, put on their skirt, and go to drink their coffee and go to work and work 9 to 5 creating tabletop role-playing games with benefits and full-time positions, right? There's only 5 of them, right? And it is Wizards of the Coast, Fantasy Flight Games, right? Monty Cook Games, Evil Hat Games, and then Paizo. That's it. That's all there is. And I think a lot of times people don't understand how tenuous our industry is. Last year, ICV2, a very reputable source, said that the entire tabletop role-playing game industry is $35 million. It's the entire, one yacht costs more than that, right? It's like a very small, tiny niche industry. And because of that, it's always a little bit under threat, in my opinion. You want to see it do well. And right now I'm a little worried about Paizo. So if anybody thinks, oh, you're overreacting, one guy is moving his office from one space to another space, right? But is it to a new building, or is everybody at Paizo disbanding their physical headquarters and going to work from home, right? We don't know, right? And that is alarming. It's very alarming to me. I don't think it would be good for the industry if we have less, if the Fizzy 5 become the Fizzy 4. That's not good, right? That would not be a good trend. And the other thing is, our industry is so small, there really aren't a lot of other tabletop role-playing game companies that are standing up, that are, you know, just ready to go and, you know, do everything they need, right? To actually stand up a physical headquarters. So physical headquarters are incredibly rare, and I think right now they're the backbone of the industry, and they're you can tell the health of the industry by that health, right? So I am considerably concerned about the health of Paizo. There are three major indicators, you know, for me that Paizo could be in trouble, and that we could be losing one of the physical five, right? I don't think that we're there yet, right? But I think the trajectory worries me, right? Here's the trajectory, right? Starfinder was a key release for Paizo. It was absolutely critical, right? And it needed to sell well, right? Well, the thing that tells me that I don't think Starfinder did well was James Sutter's leaving, right? So Starfinder comes out. James Sutter was one of the major writers on it, and a week after its release, he says, "Bye, I'm leaving Paizo." Like, whoa, that's a little alarming, right? Because, like, if your brand new game just dropped, you should be in the command seat, you know, saying, "Okay, we're gonna, you know, we're running this stuff, and here's this awesome new game. Let's build it. Let's do great things," right? But instead, James Sutter is leaving, right? Then Lewis Porter Jr., fantastic creator, third-party publisher for Pathfinder, right? One of the things that he's been working on, like, feverishly lately is converting all of his Pathfinder stuff to 5e, right? That's not a good sign. It's not a good indicator, right? And then, in addition to that, I truly believe the announcement of Pathfinder 2e is such a huge change in the industry. You know, if you see a new edition for the one tabletop role-playing game that is most incented to never have a new edition, it's gotta be Pathfinder. They have a stack of books 20 high, right? I'm not kidding. That's not a joke. There are 20 plus hardback source books. There's well over, you know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 pages of content, printed content, high-end hardback content for Pathfinder that is just, you know, throw it in a ditch. They're like, you know, it's no longer an active, supported. They're making the last AP for it right now, right? You know, and it's a legacy edition. It's a dead edition. It's like Latin, you know, like people still speak it, but, you know, it's not really an active language, right? And so I think, you know, Pathfinder 1e is really not going to be an active edition. It's going to be played by legacy players with legacy books. It's a legacy product, right? And so Pathfinder 2e, you know, the creation of that, like, I read a really excellent book called Spin, okay? And Spin, if you haven't read it, it's fantastic. I think it was nominated for some Nebulas. I think it even won the Hugo. And it was about this guy who was not a faith-based person, but he started researching these people who believed in the Bible and were really super centered on eschatology, right, which is end times theology, right? And there's this thing called the red heifer, right? And I didn't know this, and everything in the book, it's a fiction book, but it talked in depth about a very real thing, which is the red heifer. The red heifer is a very real thing. Within the faith-based community, there are people who read the standard 66-book Bible. They believe in this thing called the red heifer. And the red heifer is this this cow that every single hair on it is red, right? And it's needed in order to do this sacrifice for when the new temple will be resurrected. And so it's this key, right? And so it's one of the most strangest things that's ever existed, in that you have this community of people who, in the real world, who are constantly looking for this pure red cow that can be used as a sacrifice, right? And if you find it, you know that the end of the world is coming, right? I believe that Pathfinder 2e is the red heifer of the TRPG industry, you know, in this time. I don't think that TRPGs are going to go away. I don't think it's an end time event for us, right? And the reason why is there's always going to be tabletop role-playing games. Tabletop role-playing games aren't going anyway. And the reason why is they are, they're so fun to make that literally thousands of people make them, right? And it's crazy. Low thousands, but there's well over 1,000 tabletop role-playing game designers. The community is absolutely that large. And that's just people who are making their own. It's crazy. Like, there's so many tabletop role-playing games out there, and the reason why is they're so fun to make, right? So, but I do believe that Pathfinder 2E is the red heifer of TRPGs, not for the hobby itself, but I think it might be for physical headquarters beyond, you know, at their current number, right? And I think we could be seeing the loss of one of the Fizzy 5. I don't think any of the Fizzy 5 are going to stop creating tabletop role-playing games, but they very well may stop having a physical headquarters. And that's a big deal because you need that hyper-focus to make the quality of games that these guys make, right? And these guys and these ladies make. It's just, it's an important, really, really important aspect. And so I was really alarmed when I saw Jason Bullman saying, you know, here's my office. I'm not going to be creating games in there anymore. I'm going to be going somewhere new, right? And that, to me, now, like, that one signal, you can't extrapolate anything from that one signal. But James Sutter leaving, Lewis Porter Jr. creating content for 5e, Pathfinder 2e existing, like, you know, like, it's being written publicly, right? And then Jason Bullman announcing that, you know, the place where he sits every day to create tabletop role-playing games is no longer available to him, and he'll be going to a new office, which we haven't seen the pictures for. Is it bigger, smaller? There wasn't part of that Twitter, that tweet that said, "Oh, I'm going to a bigger, better place," right? And it's worrisome. It's worrisome. I think, you know, I think we could be looking at a red heifer here, and it's just alarming. So, I am really incredibly focused on the Fizzy 5, the physical 5, because I think they're the key to understanding the tabletop role-playing game industry. And I'd love to know your thoughts on any of this. Take care.